should I address why? Because you can't really. These are individuals, and I think I've gone through most all of them. There will be more. Will there be more? I'm not sure. The Ninja Kitty City kind of sonnets that I did, that I included in this, I kind of edited them a little bit, and I thought they were appropriate to put in here. It's a series, one of the very first series that I ever wrote, and I read them very quickly, not just to get them out in a minute, but that helps, but because I always have imagined reading them very quickly, and this is something I've told before. I like the idea of reading things that's with some that are dense and very, especially like these are very word music-y, for lack of a better phrase, I suppose. Just very quickly, so that they kind of, if you're listening and not following along reading, which if I were listening and not following along reading, I would have a lot of trouble just even envisioning what was going on. But I would get this barrage of like kind of images, I think. So, which is all I really would ask for, I think, with these particular pieces. They're very nonsensical in many ways. There is a kind of a through line throughout them all. There are characters that exist in there. I don't know how many there are, maybe 20, 25, something like that. So, while you may not have any idea what I'm talking about, these are kind of a series based on postcards that I wrote several years ago, and I have just completed reading most all of them in under a minute, very quickly, super quickly. And I read quickly as it is. I'm exploring this notion that I have this thing called pressured speech. It's a problem that has hurt me in interviews. I kind of just steamroll over people, and I have these ideas, and my brain works supposedly faster. Not saying I'm smarter, just like I steamroll over. I interrupt people, and then sometimes I don't even answer the questions that I'm being asked. At least not. I start off on going one direction, and then I kind of wind up going somewhere else, and then I try to kind of generally wind it all around. I mean, usually there's a logic to it. I'm very logical by nature. Logic is what rules as far as I'm concerned. I'm much more left-brained than I am right-brained. I almost finished a chemistry degree, and that's just kind of my thing. But I get sidetracked. But I do have a circuitous way of kind of getting around to a point, and there is like sometimes a lot that I have to say. So this is a longer poem. I thought I would stop and sort of explain a little bit once again. I've done it before, why I read so quickly sometimes. Sunday, November the 22nd, 2020, I posted Anachronism number 3079. This first, they're all stanzas, quartet stanzas. First couple and a half are all in italics. Pretend it's a monocle, he says. A kaleidoscope. The Hubble. It's something you've always wanted to learn but have been too afraid to try. Night. Something we do once in a blue moon. So I am not keen to burst his bubble. However, I do quite know what I am doing. In fact, it's all I have done for my entire life. Or as far back as I can remember. I have just never done it quite so officially, and I am lying when I said tercets or quartets earlier. They're 5 lines, they're septets. No, 5-line stanzas are not, whatever you call 5-line stanzas, and I should know that answer to that question, but I just realized that as I was reading. So I'm not too keen to burst his bubble. However, I do quite know what I'm doing. In fact, it's all I have done for my entire life, or as far back as I can remember. I've just never done it quite so officially, and I am a bit dizzy with adrenaline. I've certainly never held one so big before, and have never been quite so deliberate about the business of it. He thought it would be fun, and I concur. As for which position I prefer, I'm equally as fine with being in front of the lens as I am with being behind it. If I have any rule, then I suppose it would be whichever is the quickest in a pinch. One way or another, I am always on, unless, of course, I am literally at the cinema or in front of the box at home or thereabouts. When so situated, I'm neither focus nor gaze. Instead, I calmly and reverently allow myself to be transported. He doesn't know this yet, but it is in one of these three realms that he can always find me, which, poor dear, makes me very much unavailable. But tonight, he'll take one end and I'll take the other, and then for at least a couple of hours or so, he'll see as I do that it is to be rid of this ungainly world around us. We may, in fact, run into each other, swept away, as it were, within the folds of some chorus of human collaboration, or whatever. Would that I were always so ostentatious, but to imagine oneself such a fancy god, it may not be an eternal escape, just yet, anyway, but tonight it is, at least a small but necessary diversion.